Now, Subha Bhattacharya is here with us from the company SBG Metaverse Limited, who've got their NFT called The Island. How are you doing today?
I'm not too bad. Not too bad. Thank you, Toby. Yourself?
Yeah, I'm smashing. Now, this NFT that you've got called The Island, how would you describe it?
So we looked at the concept of NFTs and saw that people had these collections of kind of one character with
Mm,
different traits to it. And we were looking at a project which has a higher longevity period. We
yeah.
believe that our main focus is that we want an NFT to be able to return money to its investors
Mm,
over time. Um, and therefore, we needed to create a story. And we, instead of choosing a character, we chose a place which can evolve and have different characters be in it over time.
yeah.
So that was the thinking of the island.
And a lot of NFT projects have characters, don't they? What is the purpose of having characters?
I think it's the artwork really that you're trying
Mm,
to grab people with. Um, NFTs have normally been geared towards avatars or
yeah.
profile pictures that people can utilize. I think that's changing now with more artists entering the NFT space, and therefore selling pieces of artwork or media or videos and other things like that. But I think it's primarily been, you know, that typical ape that you have on your computer screen
Yeah.
as your profile picture. That's what people have been going for, and I think that's why the characters have continued.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people listening to this interview, maybe this is their first experience about hearing about NFTs. So,
Mm-hmm.
how would you describe what an NFT actually is? And, how do we get people on board that maybe haven't heard of them before?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a complicated thing, and I only really found out about it earlier this year, to be
Mm,
honest. So NFTs, they can be anything. So they can be a picture,
yeah.
a video, a piece of music. And but what's important is that the NFT itself, the whole package of data is protected.
Mm,
And because it sits on this concept called the blockchain, you are able to see how this piece of art moves from the start of its life
mm,
to where it's ended up. So you can always trace and see where it's come from. So you know that if you have a fake piece of art or something like that, because you can trace it back to the original source,
yeah.
which is why NFTs are they're really interesting. But the key for me is NFTs can be whatever you want it to be, and they can have very little value to people, or they can have extreme value to people, depending on the usage that people have of them.
Yeah. And from that description of tracking something from the start of its life to the end of its life, I kind of
Mm,
got the image of a pet Tamagotchi, but I
yeah.
guess it's very different from that, probably.
Yeah, so let's take an example, right? Let's say Banksy, instead
Mm.
of creating this amazing piece of artwork outside in the real world, decides I'm going to create a piece of artwork in the metaverse, a digital piece of art.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he then puts it on the blockchain, and now basically what it means is it's the whole data has been stamped. You can
Mm.
see that that's come from the original source of Banksy on this state, etc., etc. Now, whoever buys that off them, uh, the blockchain will show who's then bought it, and you can trace it. You
Mm.
can then look at that and say, "Oh yeah, actually, I can trace this one back to the Banksy original." So
Yeah.
it's like a thumbprint. So every
Mm.
NFT has like a thumbprint to it, which you can trace to its originality.
Yeah. So, what is the purpose of that? Because I guess it's harder, but for real life paintings, we have ways of knowing if it's the actual version.
Mm. It's because of that. It's
Mm.
because it all of a sudden you have this market in the metaverse that's flooded with art, right?
Yeah.
Um, how do you know what's valuable or not? Right? The only reason why someone is willing to pay 20 million, 30 million in the real world for a Banksy is because we've managed to tag it to Banksy.
Yeah.
But there are still art prints of Banksy going for 10 quid in London, you know.
Yeah.
Um, so it's the same thing in the digital world. Because we can trace it back to its original source, it becomes scarce because it's this amazing artist that's created it. And
Yeah.
that scarcity is what gives it value.
Yeah. Are NFTs worthless or do they actually have value?
So this is where I'm a bit controversial compared to other people.
Ooh.
I think 90 to 95% of the NFTs on the market are pretty worthless, you
Mm-hmm.
know, and that's because if you're just a random artist, yeah, and
Yeah.
you want to get your name out there and you're creating artwork, it's great exposure for you to be able to sell your art in the NFT space.
Yeah.
But for the person buying it, if you don't become famous later, or if you don't produce artwork that's going to be important later, it's like walking into a shop and buying a random picture, and it's as worth that NFT is worth as much as this just buying that random picture.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm always, whenever I speak to people about NFTs, you have to do your research and you have to be careful as to what you're buying. You need to make sure that whatever you're buying can either skyrocket in the future, can hold its value in the future, or you're going to get returns that are going to give you something worthwhile in the future.
Yeah.
Um, go ahead.
Yeah. So what actually makes your NFT not worthless?
So, if I give some examples of NFTs which may not be worthless, as an example, let's say Snoop Dogg.
Yeah.
Snoop Dogg is releasing his NFT or has released his NFT, and it will give you access to concerts. Yeah.
Mm.
Gary V has released V Friends. It gives you access to the conference VCon and also a mentoring session with him. So these are examples of ways that there can be benefit that's given back, not monetarily. So not,
Yeah.
in terms of money exchange. For me, I want to be able to give back money to the people that have invested in the project. So
Yeah.
whatever money we raise, it's like a startup company, right? We're using the NFT sale to raise capital in order to be able to invest in projects which will turn profit.
Mm.
And then we want to take that profit and give it back to the NFT holders, essentially as a thank you. So you have this new concept of something called a crypto dividend. And it's essentially dividends going back to the NFT holders, whereby they're making money from holding this NFT.
Yeah. That's interesting. Is the money guaranteed?
It it's never guaranteed. The
Mm.
projects. I work in the financial world, so
Yeah.
I'm a finance director. I've been a finance director of big FTSE companies, um, so I have an idea of how projects can be profitable or not. So we would focus in on ones that we know are going to be profitable. Be it, and this can be varying sizes, but we've got some already lined up in property. We've got some lined up for storybook sales. The hope is that because we can hit a lot of different markets, that wide exposure gives us less risk, and
Yeah.
that profits will come at a net level.
Yeah. So when is the official launch of Island NFT going to occur?
24th of June. So
Mm.
we've given ourselves a lot of time to
Yeah.
try and build up people and advertising and all of that stuff.
Yeah, and does this is this something that takes time then to actually build up? I'm guessing so if it's not till June.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you have people that are known in the NFT world, or celebrities that can launch really quickly
Yeah.
because people know them, and so their NFTs go like that. But for ordinary folk that are developing this, you need time to build a community, do
Mm.
collaborations with other NFT people, So yeah, I think a couple of months and we should get a good community going.
Yeah, and the community is quite important, isn't it? Because it seems to me that every single person I've interviewed with an NFT, they always have a Discord server. So
Yeah.
I take it that's a really good way to build a community.
Yeah, and again, Discord is something that I had no idea what it was
Yeah,
last year. It's something that was completely new to me. Um, but yeah, it's kind of like an old AOL or an old like an active Reddit server where
yeah.
people are just chatting away and discussing stuff. It's a nice way to talk to the whole group at one time.
Yeah, absolutely. And as well, I suppose you just need a lot of time to build up marketing, don't you? Because you don't want to launch it and then it's just a complete flop because you didn't promote it.
Yeah, the biggest thing because I've put all my money into this, so
Yeah.
this is completely self-funded from my side. The biggest thing I've learned is you've got to give your time to do the marketing.
Mm.
Yeah, I'm spending 5-6 hours a day try after work because I'm still working, trying to talk to different NFT holders and NFT communities and build up that relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, putting a lot of money into this, can you afford for this to fail?
Ideally not. No,
Yeah.
I'm a single dad,
Yeah.
and it's a big risk to take for something that's completely new to me.
Yeah.
But it was just a really interesting concept for me. It's bringing together that world of business and financial stability that I know really well
Mm.
with this crazy world where you can do whatever the hell you want.
Yeah.
Whatever's in your head, you can put on paper and bring the two together is so interesting. And I think I can give back to people, which is the
Yeah.
big thing for me.
Absolutely. And in business, you have to take risks like this, don't you?
Yeah, you've got to like I was not that I'm getting bored in the job I do, but
Mm.
it's nice to be able to learn something completely new and throw yourself into it. Yeah.
Yeah. So, what is the roadmap for the Island NFT after launch?
After launch, that's a great question. So we have the focus is on this treasury fund and this wealth creation fund. So a lot of it's going to be on whatever money we raise, the profit we raise is going to be distributed amongst these projects. So
Mm.
half of it's going to go into these projects that we spoke about in the real world, which will create profit, and half of it will go into the metaverse. So we want to buy land in the metaverse for our people to use. We're going to do, like I said, there's also this story of these characters. So we
Mm.
want these characters to evolve or to die or be wiped out. And so you'll have new drops occurring depending on the combination of characters that you hold. Um, we have this group of 10 NFT holders called the Unseen, who we're going to bring together every 2 months. And they're going to, with a roll of a dice, like Dungeons and Dragons,
Wow.
decide what catastrophes happen on the island and therefore who survives and how they survive, etc., etc.
Yeah.
So, um, and then we're doing white lists. We're giving away holidays.
Wow.
I've given away, I've given away 4 or 5 thousand pounds already in
Mm.
in different giveaways and prizes. So yeah, there's lots of stuff coming on the
Yeah, that
roadmap.
sounds like so much fun, giving away holidays and stuff. Is that
Yeah,
stuff that you necessarily have to do, or are you just doing it to make it more fun?
yeah. To make it more fun, I think you know, people want money and maybe the holiday thing won't work out because the NFTs they can be held by anyone around the world. So
Yeah.
it's a bit difficult, but it's something that's interesting. We
Mm.
can just try out things and see if they land or not.
Yeah, absolutely. And where can we go if we're interested in this service then?
Yeah, absolutely. So please join us on our website. That's www.theislandnft.io. And from there, you'll get links to our Twitter and to our Discord as well. So, yeah, there, all the information is there. The minting will be from there. So, If you a lot of NFTs are bought on something called OpenSea, but actually you can buy one from our website and you won't have to pay the really high gas fees that people are always worried about.
Yeah. And how much does it cost, by the way, to purchase an NFT on your site?
So we have three characters at the moment which are coming out. We have the Gemmies, who are these beautiful little gems. They're zero point 0.1 Ethereum. We then have the first characters that have come to the island, the Angry Bears, who kind of fell through a portal and ended up there. So you'll see a lot of them. They're 0.12 Ethereum. And then the Unseen, we have 5 of them for sale, and they're the people that govern the island, and you kind of meet every couple of months. They are 1.5 Ethereum.
Uh-huh. Great. Well, many thanks for joining us here on the show today. It's been great having you on.
Thank you very much, Toby. It's been a pleasure.